Welcome
back
to TAE Time Podcast. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone's doing well. Forgive me if I cough or whatever in this video because
it's okay. You're forgiven.
I'm pretty sick right now, so I'm trying to slowly recover. I was recovering and then I got worse, and then I got better, and then I got worse. So whatever. But yeah. Besides that, what's your weekly stand-up? How?
Ooh, I forgot we're doing that.
Oh, you forgot?
I forgot to bring one to the table.
Oh,
say yours and I'll think of one.
My one is pretty straightforward. I started watching Free on Crunchyroll. This new anime. I've been waiting like 2 seasons for it to finish because it's like 20 episodes and everyone's ranting and raving about it.
That's 2 seasons? I thought you meant 20 episodes in 1 season.
No. So it's 1 season, but it went on for 2 seasons of anime.
Okay.
So like I think it was the winter and the fall, or whatever it is. I can't remember. Either way, for 2 consecutive seasons it went on. It did 12 episodes and then another set of episodes, whatever. It's 14 because it just finished off. There were 20 episodes and we're on like episode 9, I think now. Like, I planned on watching it and I was just chilling and Nicola was in the room and she started watching it with me and she's enjoying it too.
But I feel like I'm holding you back from watching it as much as you would like to.
Yeah, like definitely a big binger when it comes to like anime. Like if I
I could binge with you, but the thing is I have things to do. Like I need to either like cook, I need to work, I need to be in a call.
Is what she's saying.
You're just like, I want to sit down and watch this. I'm like, I literally have to do things.
I'm a bum, essentially, is what she's saying. I am. I just like.
But we have this weekend.
Yeah, when I like start something, I like, especially because I waited for it to binge. Right. That's why it's like now it's like stop, but like it's fair, like because she's enjoying it too. But like I waited literally so I could just watch it as much as possible throughout. But it's really good. Like it's been pretty interesting, and I would say, as I said, I'll probably come back to you guys when I finish it. But right now we're on episode 9, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it anyway so far. So yeah, no, that's definitely my thing. So how about you? Thought about something now?
I have. I think my weekly stand-up is related to me starting to pick up like running. Like I'm a runner, I'm a track star. I used to run before, like even during COVID, like Farouk and I would like run. Well, he'd make me run, and then I got into it myself. And even before that, so I have phases with running, when I like do it and then when I just don't. And so I recently, with one of your friends, I set up like a 5K, and I went to it, and like the pain that I felt after in my body, I was like, these muscles have been dormant for years. And I didn't like that. I was like, okay, let's not let this happen again. Yeah. So even if I'm like running a little bit here and there, at least it's keeping those muscles like working, So yeah, that's kind of been my...
Yeah, well, I guess that's pretty fair because like as much as you go gym, you're not like an athletic person, like Nicola doesn't really, like, she used to, like when she was in school, she doesn't really do any sports, which makes, and like if you're not doing any sports, you just, all those like twitch muscles, like,
but it's like,
those things just...
Is running like considered like, like badminton or like that kind of sport? Would it go under the same umbrella?
Yeah, like running is considered a sport, like maybe... Obviously not, like it depends. Maybe it's not as intense as like a football or basketball or something, but it's considered like a sport. It's considered a sport. Indeed.
How about walking?
Walking is definitely not a sport.
Oh,
I know they have the competitive fast walking, whatever. I think that's a joke personally, but it is what it is. Teach their own.
If you're a fast walker, Ferg thinks you're a joke.
No, I just think it's a joke that's a competitive sport.
How about like, cause I can bang out like I don't know 40 minutes on the Stairmaster easy, pretty high speed, can do it. Not running though.
Yeah, but it's all different. Like, I probably couldn't do what you do on the Stairmaster, personally in my own life. Yeah. I don't think I could do it. Like, I never tried, but I don't think I could do it. I think it would take time. Whereas like running a 5K for me is like, I can run a whole 5K.
And you did it without stopping, even though you don't run all the time.
Yeah, and like I think that's just like one of those things. It's like when it comes to athleticism, like if you're doing stuff, it's just easy to keep that consistency there, you know, like whatever. But like there's ways to do it. Like you see in the gym now, like there are ways you can train to be like athletic, you know, and that would kind of give you, especially we do a lot of like HIIT interval stuff and all those things. It does give
you're
it,
getting your lungs working up and
exactly,
building
increasing
up
your
the
VO2
sweat.
max.
I think like I definitely have the strong mental to like push me, you know, through. But like, you know, when I like ran, I was like, no, my body like it can't, like my legs just don't want to. So it was just like interesting, and now I'm like, come on, you do it, you gotta do it. So it's interesting. I'll let you guys know how the journey goes if I continue or whatever. But anyways, for today we kind of compiled a few things that are
currently ongoing in the scene, in the news, in the media. You know, trying to be on top of discussion.
Yeah, because I feel
trends. Because we usually are, like, I feel like
we sprinkle it in,
but we're never on top of trends. No. Like, especially because it's like a weekly podcast.
Yeah.
And like we always have other things we know we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So we're never on top of trends. So like,
I mean, we don't have
obviously we don't have. That's not what this podcast is about. It's literally talk about everything.
Although, because people, like, a lot of people confuse our podcast with, like, Tea Time, which is known for, like, gossip, like, what's going on, and then they come here and we're just talking about some topic we're really passionate about.
There's no tea. Just
okay. But even today, there's no tea. It's just, things we've highlighted. Anyway, the first one. The UK was ranked second most miserable country. Was it in Europe or the world?
In the world, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
really?
Second most miserable country to live in.
That's grim.
Isn't that grim? It is very grim. Which is funny because Nicola loves London.
I love the London, yeah.
And I love London too, but I think I'm also realistic to know that London isn't that deep. I think London is nice to us because it's like a little bit more busy. A lot more busy than Dublin is, right? And we like busy cities. But if you think of it like, because I actually thought about it when I saw that thing and I was talking about what we're going to do. It's like, if you think about it, your lifestyle, and don't kill me here, guys, your lifestyle in London, if you lived in London your whole life, you'd perceive it the same way we perceive Dublin.
I agree.
Right?
I can see that.
Right? And whereas like places like Zurich, for example, like after going there, I can, as much as I like the business of London, after being to Zurich, I'm like, ooh, this is a very nice like vibe where not only do you have the business of London, but there's just, I guess like this sense of like, I don't know how to put it into words, like not peace, but like relaxing and like Europeanness of it, I guess is the best way. Because don't get me wrong, obviously, like worse, like UK, Ireland,
it's basically just rich people, you know.
It's not just rich people.
It is.
Like
it is.
I don't think it's just rich people. Like think for example that I think one example I use is that indoor water surfing thing, right? Yeah. That's just a vibe, right?
But do you not think it's such a rich people like?
No, because you could have that. Activity. But the thing is, like, I think also what doesn't help UK and Ireland is the weather. Obviously. They just don't have the weather on their side. Yeah. And, like, obviously it's not like, oh, everywhere in Europe is sunny all the time. But at the same time, when it's meant to be sunny and the vibes are meant to be out and the vibes are meant to be good, Ireland definitely is screwed in that regard. Yeah. But the UK is...
And the sun is shining bright today.
Yeah, but the UK is a close second, you know? In that shitty weather category during summer when the vibes be high. You know, like look at mainland Europe when the summer is out, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. All the day parties, all the things, everything is going on. But when it's summer here, like London's getting a lot more hotter. You're getting a lot more vibey and thing. But I think definitely the weather makes a massive impact on that for sure. Personally, that's my perspective.
I found Zurich I found the vibe very peaceful actually. I thought that people were very chillaxed, you know. They weren't like hustling and bustling and, you know, like shoving people out of the way. Like it wasn't well, first of all, it wasn't busy like that, like London busy, you know, but the people were just more like calm and at peace. And I did like that. I found a very like family orientated place. Like even that surf place that we went to, there's a lot of mothers with kids and well behaved kids and stuff like that. But I do think that, you know, the whole richness of the country has to do a lot with that attitude, because you have a lot of people in like the UK, Ireland, whatever, where it's a lot more visible, like the discrepancies and, you know, income. It's very visible. Like, you know, if you grow up, like, you can grow up very, very poor in the UK.
Yeah,
whereas
absolutely.
I don't see Zurich have like unable to live or like pay rent or like whatever.
They surely they do. Like obviously it's not. Like,
I'm sure there's some, but it just wasn't visible like that.
Yeah, but I guess you
don't have the hustlers playing the little games in the middle of the street trying to rob you. My people.
Oh God, in London.
You know what I mean? It's like hustle and bustle.
Yeah, like, you know, definitely. There's something to be said about it. You know that, but the UK is interesting because like a lot of people love London. A lot of people who aren't from London and like the UK love the UK, right? But then the people in the UK in London, they're like, no, this is shit. Like, we need to get out of here. Like, you see it on TikTok all the time. Essentially the same way like Irish people in our generation are like, we need to get out of Ireland, like, you know, or whatever. It's the same thing they'd be saying.
Yeah.
You know, which to other people is like crazy. It's like, oh my God, but it's London. No, because when you live in that situation, you understand it more, which is interesting, as I said, because like a lot of other countries, I don't really see that as often of like people who are raised and born there. Like, assuming you're not like raised in like a bum town, like a small little town or something, right? I don't really see much people trying to leave and like get up out of their place. Would you say
like in Nigeria that people are like fighting to leave?
People want to jackpot all the time. People want to get.
It's the same in Romania.
You know,
like even TikToks I'm seeing, because I'm, you know, keeping a lot more in touch with like Romanian TikTok and stuff. People want to leave. Everybody wants to leave. Yeah. And I think it's just always like your own country. You see its flaws a lot more than obviously people from outside.
Absolutely. And that's a massive thing. But I feel like it's a lot more common in the UK and Ireland versus other European countries. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And that's just my perspective on it anyway. So. Like, I just find that interesting that I always hear from here, but not as much from the other sides as much. But then again, I'm not in those scenes, so who would I?
I think, honestly, every place in this world can be the best ever if you have the financial means to live like the rich people of the country and have a good time.
There's some places, even if you have a fucked up money, it's still shit. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Okay, like where?
I'm not saying, but there's definitely places. There are places that I believe that no matter how much money you have, it's still boring. Like, you know, there's like some places are just more fun than others. Like, you're gonna have a lot more fun with money.
But at the same time, it depends what you like and what you're like as a person. You might not want that.
Yeah, obviously, like but the thing is, like, that doesn't require much money because essentially the opposite is like you just want peace and quiet, right? You don't need.
Yeah, but you want peace and quiet in a like chalet in the middle of.
Yeah, but that doesn't require that. That's just being extravagant for no reason. Whereas, like, you can have, if you really just want peace and quiet, which is the opposite, like, then you don't need that much money to do that.
But it's hard to have peace and quiet when you don't have financial stability.
Yeah, obviously, but it is easier to have peace and quiet without as much financial stability. You know, as in, like, if it's different story to just want to have a little place to yourself that you can call home, that you can just sit down and read a book, have walks, maybe take out a dog or something like that, versus, or like raise a family, versus like places in which you're like, I want money to go and be able to go on holidays, go buy this, buy that. That requires a lot more. One thing I truly do believe is if you are a simple person and you want peace and quiet, it is a lot more achievable. But the problem is majority of people don't want that. Most people don't want peace and quiet. Most people want all these like things you see on these lavish lifestyles, these lavish things. And if we weren't chasing that, we wouldn't require as much money as we need. Like, if I genuinely like didn't care about like wanting to go on holidays and stuff like that, then I could just like live peacefully for the rest of my life right now, and I wouldn't care. You know, and a lot of people and I could have done that even a long time ago. You know, like, because the thing is, one thing, there's this person I saw actually see on TikTok. He owns this little cabin or whatever, and the whole idea is like he truly believes in just like being relaxed and peace and quiet, or he just has a dog, like, you know, that he goes on walks with, and he talks about like books and all these other things. And the idea is like he was one that actually made me really realize that as much as people think they want peace and quiet, there's a lot of things that you think you want peace and quiet, but you actually still want like extravagance
things,
that you don't realize that you actually want. Like if you truly want peace and quiet, it is so easy to like assuming like obviously you're not like you have like no money, you're literally living paycheck to paycheck in like an expensive city. But it's like if you want peace and quiet, you would have no problem living in a very cheap city in like your town. Like for example, you could move to Chile and you could easily have peace and quiet.
It's expensive.
You know, like obviously, like, but you know, it's like you can have peace and quiet. You can live in like a very small town in Italy or Spain or whatever and have very simple peace and quiet. But people don't really want that. They want other things, and that means you require more money, which doesn't give peace in your life.
But do you think part of it is just like the social aspect? Like, because a lot of peace and quiet doesn't really involve being with people.
Absolutely. Like you,
so I think it's fair to want to be surrounded by people.
Well, no, but you can be surrounded by people without having to like go out for drinks or go out for the activities.
Okay,
like,
so what do you do? Like go for
over,
walks together?
Like if you go for walks together, you come to each other's places and just talk.
Yeah, I might not have money to give you anything. You know? I might not have money to like.
No, but the thing is, it doesn't. Right? It's not about that. It's about just company. Like and that's one thing is like it's like people are like, oh, you know, it's like yeah, but like it's just about company. Like it's just like you can just have someone there and just talk to them and just like be happy with that, you know. Like it's not
shared
really
experiences,
you know. It's just a shared experience, like you know, like you're going on a walk together, you're discussing things or discussing like a book you read or whatever. Like true peace and quiet, if you truly are someone who likes peace and quiet, there's really not much you need besides like a roof over your head and clothes on you and like enough food to like feed yourself. Like,
but I think at the same time, like imagine we were all like peace and quiet. I feel like there'd be such little like development for things in the world.
Absolutely. Like capitalism
would be so stagnant,
capitalism wouldn't be as rampant.
Yeah.
But the whole point of capitalism isn't only just to like sell you things, is to make you want to buy things
and develop things, right? Like because a lot of like businesses and stuff that start, obviously there's some financial driven factors, whatever, but like, you know, people like want to be innovative and do stuff, and I think that innovation and that drive for innovation would be like really stagnant, would have really peaceful.
Is that a bad thing?
I think so, because we wouldn't be able to have this podcast, we wouldn't have all these devices, we wouldn't be able to share experiences with the world. I'll ask you
again, is that a bad thing?
I think so.
Why though?
Because I like how connected we can feel. I think
we can be connected in our communities without having to see someone that's
I hear what you're saying,
away.
But I think and we might jump into the next one, which is like to do with the TikTok ban. I think having TikTok the past few years has taught me a lot of things I haven't learned in school or like, you know, through people around me, because maybe they don't have the experience that would have, you know, other people have shared that I've been able to hear. And I think like, say what's been happening in Palestine and stuff like that, and you know, the truths of a lot of these things happening in the world, where I just be oblivious and not care. And I think being oblivious and not caring is a privilege, because someone is suffering in part of the world and you just will not know because the government's sheltering you from all this information.
That's
right?
valid.
And I think that having obviously this in place came because of these sharky attitudes and development and innovation. But there was some good to that, right? Which is like learning more about others, how, you know.
Okay, but to rebuttal that point, a lot of those fights wouldn't happen in the first place if people just wanted peace and quiet.
I don't know, man.
Absolutely. Like if humans didn't care about wanting things, humans wouldn't kill each other and take things. Do you understand? As in people wouldn't be taking land. Like I'll take world wars.
Listen.
They happen because people wanted more than they already had.
But like Adam started this with the apple, okay?
No, Eve started it with the apple.
But he ate it, no?
No, the story is Eve was tricked by the snake well, not tricked. She was tempted. Yeah. The snake is like, you should take the apple, and you know, like after God told him, don't take the apple from that tree.
Wow, we're blaming women from the start.
That's the story. That's
Wow.
like, and then
Who
she
came up
takes
with
it.
this?
She eats the apple, and then she also got Adam to eat the apple.
Making women seem like the snakes.
But moral story.
No, but look, like, I'm just saying, obviously, peace and quiet, had it started bajillions before us, yeah, that would have been great. But guess what? That's not the case.
Yeah, but the point still stands that, like, the idea is if humans truly became a society, let's say from whatever point, and just stayed within our communities, like, you wouldn't have as much war, you wouldn't have as much strife, all these things, because humans, like I always say, like, humans are inherently bad. Like, that's what I always say. And like, just in the sense of like, we have greed. We have a lot of greed. Like, humans just have a lot of greed. We want more. I'm part of the problem. Like, I want more. Like, I always want more. Do I really even know what I want more for? Fuck, but I know I want more.
Feels good.
You know, and whatever. And like, things, if you didn't have that, you'd have a lot more peace in your life, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, and we'd have a lot more peace in the world, because a lot of the things, conflicts happen is because of someone wanting something.
But do you
that
think
someone else
that
has.
Individuals themselves could have inner peace, you know, and still like
Want
things?
No.
Okay.
Like, deep, all the people that are rich and that are happy and at peace, how did they get to that point? They get to a point in which where they have so much abundance that they don't want anything anymore.
Yeah.
And then they're at peace. It's, you get to peace by having no more wants. And that's why it's like, that's why you have all those guys who are like very minimal, like, you know, people, like men and women who just are very happy with a small place to call their own, and like a book to read, or
wear the same damn outfit, you know, every day. Like,
essentially, just like the idea is, it's simple. Like, because if you don't want the next thing, you're just happy in the here and now. You don't really ever have any stress.
But I think obviously we work as a community type. Like, we look at other.
Well, you can
people,
have that and have a community.
You know, yeah. But the thing is, like, comparison is the thief of joy, and comparison is
why are you comparing?
Huge and no, but I'm just saying, because we're surrounded by people and we see things, and you know, we want things, and why do you want things?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I want things because I want to get to a point where I don't have to worry about whatever, in whatever sense, you know, to get that rich people peace, quote unquote,
rich people peace.
You know, but real people peace. Like, I truly think, like, I am truly envious of people who are, like, take that guy, for example, that is not take that. I'm truly envious of people. Like, I'm not envy. Like, you know, I'm like, I really respect people who have true peace in their life and not really wanting much. You know, like, to be able to just be like, I am happy with just the necessities of life and just existing and being able to walk on my 2 feet, do whatever, just be happy or whatever. You've won in life, because you will never have to worry about, oh my God, I have to do this, whatever. Like, for example, like, if one of those people, let's say they grew up in Dublin, and Dublin's super expensive, we know, like, you would have to work a lot of hours to like pay the next bill, whatever. Those are the same people that are willing to just move their life into some place that's very quiet, very cheap, and just live there and be happy there.
And you still have to work, right?
Yeah, obviously.
For someone.
Like, for something or whatever, or like whatever, just to at least do whatever. But they're just happy being, they just go to their job, do their job, get their money, and just live their life. And they don't complain, they don't care, they're just happy. Like, there's a certain level of respect that has to be given to that, because it's just like, you are content.
Okay,
truly.
So, like, you know, there's people like who have like jobs and they're like not paid that well or whatever, but they stay because the job makes them happy, right? And like, sometimes like other people look at them like, and I've done this with like some people in my life, obviously, being like, why don't you want more? Like, you deserve more, you're better than this, and stuff like that. And like, there's something to say about the influence like these people are trying to have on these people living in their peace bubble, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
why are you trying to like be like,
we're
you want
also
more?
The problem?
Yeah,
you
we
know?
are part of the problem.
Because it's like someone's in a peaceful bubble and you're like, well, I want you to do more. Like, you deserve better. Why? You deserve better. And it's just like stuck in the same job for years and years. And it's like,
but people, you know, like, it's like, take for example, it's like I think, was it that story of that like old man who had been just doing whatever in the newspaper or doing something simple for like 50 years or whatever, and he was just happy doing that, just doing it and going back. Like people like that truly just, they don't care about all these worldly stuff, and that doesn't bring stress into their lives. You know, it's pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's hard when someone is like at you or has expectations.
Yeah, it's like, get on my life. What are you doing? They're just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm happy with where I am. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
You go chase whatever you want to chase. Let me just chill and
It's
relax.
hard. I think we are easily influenced by other people, and obviously when someone who cares about you is saying something to you, you're a lot more likely to take it as like, oh, maybe I should listen to them, you know. So yeah, anyways, I mentioned before the TikTok ban.
Yeah.
So that was on our list of things. Was it? You sent it to me. Yeah, TikTok ban. Give us a day. We briefly mentioned it before. So
yeah, well, it's still out there. I think it hasn't cleared the Senate yet. You know, it just cleared the House floor, then cleared the Senate. So yeah, but it's interesting. The reason I brought it up is because now apparently I see this guy on TikTok that talks about like saying that other European countries are just like, I can't remember, what was the word he used? Oh, they're vassal states of the US, because he's like, oh, you think this TikTok ban is only affecting the US? Wait until European countries start implementing it too, because they're also vassal states of the US. And then eventually, apparently, Germany and a few other European countries are now considering also banning TikTok as well.
Interesting.
You know, for the same reasons, which is pretty interesting to see how they're coming at this like one app because of, you know,
like we don't want them to sell your data. Let us sell your data.
But it makes sense due to the sense
ourselves.
Of like, you know, it makes sense due to the fact that like
allegedly
America and the US, I mean Europe and US are allies. You know, like they would rather align themselves with the US rather than China, and so it makes sense that they would both have a vested interest in not having this one Chinese partially owned app. You know, and they're
partially.
Yeah, because technically it's like in Singapore, so on and so forth, whatever. But like ByteDance obviously owns TikTok, but like, you know, TikTok is like housed in Singapore, whatever, to try to separate itself. But the idea is like that is existing there, and it's like, what do? You can't really do much, because it's like, unless TikTok goes off and sells itself to like a US operations instead, you know, there's no things. And it just shows, I guess the reason I pull it shows that like there's still a lot of tension, you know, from all these big global economic powers, America, China, Russia. They do not like each other, and they're massive. They're massive. So it's like everyone has to choose a side, you know, on these things. And like TikTok is just a little cog in that machine of them continuously fighting, you know. And I think what I'm interested in outside of that fighting is, what do you think? Like, if a TikTok ban was to be in place, how would you react yourself to it?
Oh, I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
Really?
No, I think I would be really upset by it. Like, I think TikTok is a huge part of our lives, you know. It's like, you see a TikTok, you know, and you're like, oh, I saw this TikTok, or I saw this, or you hide it by saying, oh, I read this thing. So much of the information that we consume is through TikTok. And I don't even think it's a bad thing, you know. Like I said before, I think people sharing their experiences like in other parts of the world has really like made us gain consciousness, you know. Has really like opened up our eyes to see other parts of the world, or find out things, or, you know, I don't think it's been bad. I think it hasn't been censored and monitored, and I think that's a good thing. Like, you know,
on that like bad thing, I don't know if it is. I would disagree with that sense of, I don't think it's bad. I think it's both. I think it's both good and bad. I think we are turning into the Facebook mom generation. And I've noticed it recently that a lot of people will just take things at face value just because it was on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, because what I always do is if I see information on TikTok, I instantly go straight to Google and I go search it up and try to look for news outlets or sources that cooperate it. You know, I will never just take a TikTok for word and just run with it.
That's fair.
You know, but
there's a
everybody
lot
just takes
of,
TikToks and runs with it.
But this is the same as like listening to the news and taking it as fact, and you should never do that. But so many people do, because there's like news outlets on TikTok sharing news there. You know?
Absolutely. No,
so whether you're consuming it on TV or on your phone,
no, but the
you
idea
should still
is
do your own research.
Yeah, but the thing is, we know people don't do it. Let's be honest. Like, I'm probably like in a small percentage of people who do that, right?
Yes.
People just take things and things, and I guess that's one thing I would, and I think that's a problem with all social media personally. That's not uniquely TikTok problem. That's a social media
or
problem.
television.
You know, where like people will just run with whatever they hear and they do it, and I think that's humans like downfall, as in like that's why people are so susceptible to propaganda. You know, and propaganda on both sides, because like as much as you think you're a good guy, you're a bad guy in someone else's eyes. You know, like there's a quote or whatever. I can't remember what the quote. It's a really cool quote, but the idea is like this. It's like essentially like everyone's a bad guy in another person's eye or something, whatever. Which is very true, because the thing is, no one is perfect. And no country is perfect. Nothing is perfect. So like, there's always two sides to every story. Literally, like it's all grays. There's no black or white. It's all gray. And it's interesting to think that people might think, oh, I'm so liberal, so woke, thinking XYZ, but then they're freaking susceptible.
So educated.
They're susceptible to propaganda on their side too, you know, and I think it's pretty interesting. I think we definitely do need one thing I do like, for example, I do not hate is a strong word. I dislike Elon Musk, and I dislike what he's done to Twitter.
Allegedly.
Right?
Sorry.
That's not even alleged. That's a fact. And I dislike what he's done to Twitter. X, whatever. I'll never call it X, it's Twitter. But one thing I do like that's in place now in Twitter is that anytime you see a post that has any quote unquote, it can even be not even factual information or like relevant information. It now has that like readers submitted like fact checking thing that tells you, oh, this is this, and then it links to a source in an article or like multiple. That is the best thing I've ever seen, because there's so many times I'll like see something, I'm like, and then next you know, just like readers notes or like it's like, and then it's literally like, oh, this is actually not true, blah blah blah, and then like links to a thing. That is amazing. I wish more social medias had that in place, you know?
Interesting.
Because it makes a massive difference.
Interesting.
You know, it makes it harder for false information to just be spread out like wildfire, you know? Because then it's like, obviously initially when it first blows, it's like, oh my God. But then as it's blowing, there's already that readers know whether it's true or not. And I think TikTok for sure, I think needs that.
Should have that. Some
kind of like little warning or something where it's just like, you can like maybe at the bottom or whatever. It's like, you know, because remember they used to have that thing where it's like, anytime someone talk about, you know, the C virus, you know, that it would have that little thing going like, oh, find out more information, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It should have something like that for anytime it detects like someone talking and then have readers into an article or something like that, because it makes misinformation so much harder for it to just spread like wildfire, and I think it's actually very required.
Do you know what I heard recently? I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he was talking to his guest, and they're both kind of agreeing that, you know, Twitter recently, they just hate it. Like, it's just such a like negative space, and I think he described it as like two like cats fighting, like a fight in there. And I'm not someone who uses the platform, so I don't know. But do you think it's been better or worse recently?
Definitely worse. Like,
okay.
So like, it's just not as good, and it's definitely like. So, I guess like not worse. I think worse is the wrong word. It is still the same. Like Twitter's the same, but you notice a lot more annoyances in it. Like a lot of like BS stuff. There's a lot more BS. Like Twitter already had a lot of BS, but now it has a lot more BS. But as I said, that readers know thing was a great thing. That's not cut through a lot of that BS. But definitely it's not it's just, it's like the uncanny valley, you know, as in like it's near exactly what it was, but there's just something off about it. I think that's a better way to say it. And like, I think anyone who uses Twitter understands what I'm saying. Like, you know, like it's still the same, but I think it's very easy for you to avoid that. Like in the sense of like, I think if I use Twitter in the traditional sense of like, not only just having created for what I want, but also like looking for other things. Yeah, when you're looking for other things like world stuff, it's definitely a lot more like fucked. But if your feed is very much more catered towards all your stuff, you don't really notice all the mess ups that they've introduced as much, you know. But one question I want to ask, I know like we're here on time, but like about the TikTok, if TikTok does get banned, you just gonna move to like Instagram Reels?
Yeah, because recently I've just been in my groove about posting, and like guys, I have a good few followers. Okay, no, obviously I'm a creative person, and I think TikTok was, when I first started, was great for that. Now I stopped posting completely because this podcast kind of like was taking up most of my energy, but now I've just kind of been wanting to create, finding myself wanting to create some content, so I've been using the platform. And I used to use Reels before, even, you know, for like fitness content, but now I'm just like, the platform is there, and if TikTok goes, it's just gonna have to transition to there, because it's like an outlet, you know, where you could put out content. But it's just, I liked how random you can be on TikTok about what you post, you know. I feel like Instagram is just not there yet. Like, there are some creators obviously, but it's very like, what's your niche, and like you could, you know, people are like that on TikTok, but I feel like TikTok can just be so random. Like, you just follow someone for their personality, and whatever they do, I'm here for it, you know. Like, whether you're baking a cake or you're jumping off a cliff or whatever you're doing, I'm here for you as a person. So, you know,
it feels a lot more personal than
manufactured. I don't think Instagram's there yet. I don't feel that with Instagram.
I think that's just because of the way we've built Instagram up ourselves. We've used it to show like perfectness. Whereas TikTok never started out that way, which makes a massive difference. So then how about YouTube Shorts?
I like YouTube Shorts, and it's been great for our podcast. You guys should check it out. And you know, they have money incentive and everything, but I think it's just not that popular, which I think it's great if you're starting out as a creator, because especially because a lot of kids use it. So if the next generation is growing up with this platform,
they love YouTube Shorts.
They love it. Like, every kid I know uses YouTube Shorts. So maybe I should start posting on there too, actually, now that I think about it. I think it's a great platform. Yeah, I think I see the potential, and there's monetary gains. I don't know about Instagram, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, Instagram needs to really step up with they need to start paying for views on Reels, honestly. Like, I know the reason they're not doing it is because like they've gotten away with it for so long. Yeah. But I think,
why should we?
I think they should.
Yeah. Like, even TikTok implemented it, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
cool
incentive. I think they should. Like, YouTube is obviously the best place to get paid, but I think Instagram really needs to step up and give more of an incentive for people to use Reels. But Reels is being very, very adopted, so I think they're just gonna keep riding for as long as they can without having to pay people. You know?
Yeah. Honestly. Step it up. Step it up.
Step it up.
And they've included Threads now. Came up with Threads.
Yeah.
So that's.
I don't use Threads.
Well,
I that's someone who uses Twitter a lot. Like, I don't use Threads.
I try to use it on the podcast.
I don't think it just looks. I don't think it doesn't look as interesting to me as Twitter does. So I think once they pan up and they get somewhat close to even what old Twitter was like, then I'll start considering. But until then, I'm not downloading that goddamn app. So I
have it. Yeah. I'm trying to represent our podcast there.
Which is good.
But it's hard.
Because I'm used to guys.
It's hard even to remember to open the app and post something. I'm like, oh, yeah.
No, but that's the thing about like Threads / Twitter type ones. You need to really live in it. Like, you really need to live in it. Like, I open Twitter every single day.
But the thing is, like, I could see how Twitter could be enjoyable, you know, like you do your feed, whatever. But with Threads, I don't think it's there yet. Like, I don't see that. When I go on the app, like, obviously it's who you follow and stuff like that as well. So we don't follow a lot of people with our, podcast account. But it's just kind of boring. Like, it's just...
Yeah, but you see, like, Twitter is fun even if you don't follow people.
That's the thing, yeah. And even you go to, like, what's trending, and then you're just... Even if you don't know how to use the app, it's like, oh, cool, interesting, fun.
Pattern up.
So, yeah. We had a lot more topics planned for you guys, but I think we really rambled.
Yeah, we rambled a lot. I rambled. I rambled.
No, we both rambled. We both, like, yapped for a while.
Japanese yap session.
And it was fun.
You know, that's what happens when I'm sick, and I hope I don't give enough oomph for...
I think it's okay. Like, sometimes, like, energy is just low.
Be happy you got an episode and nothing, rather than nothing.
Like, you're not feeling well, so we might cut this a little bit short. Well, it's not short. It's 40 minutes, y'all.
Bang on what we normally do, like... Don't get it twisted just because we've been giving you a few hour-long episodes recently, you know. And
it's fun when the moment feels right and we're both in good health. Maybe we can have an episode on some of the stuff I've been cooking or what we've been doing, how Ramadan's been going. But let us know what topics you'd like to hear.
For real.
And till next time.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and all that stuff. Peace.
Take care.